It is the Al Travis Show, and I'm lucky to have him. He is Congressman Tom Emmer on the program. Congressman, thanks for being here.
Good to be with you, Al. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
A Happy New Year to you. I don't know if you know the whole background of why you're with me today. I read something last week when, the rest of the news and all the world was about what's going on here in Minneapolis and that sort of thing. I read a story, and it flashed back to me that I pushed on you pretty hard last year and when the last continuing resolution was passed. And I kind of got on you, I don't know if you remember it or not, but I said, conservatives like me, I just want it done. We now got the all three legs. Let's get it done. And you said, we'll get her, Al. And I pushed on you probably more than a guy should for where I sit on the totem pole of life. But that being said, last week you got it done. And I called your people and I said, any chance you can come on and I can thoroughly apologize to you and say, I'm sorry if I pushed too hard. And the second thing is, thank you for getting there. And now what's the problem? How did you get it? First, how did you get her done? You got the 12 done. I mean, bravo, sir.
Well, first off, Al Travis was cool before I was even a legislator. So let's be clear who predates who around here. And okay. I've known you for a long time. I didn't have any problem with your frustration because you were voicing the same frustration that almost every constituent I have at home has. What are you guys doing? Are you just going to keep kicking the can down the road every single time? That was Al Travis, and that's most of my constituents. And I told you, no, the goal is to get back to regular order. The goal is to actually do something that hasn't been done in this place in 30 years. And yeah, we came back after Christmas. I actually was hoping that we would have passed 3 of those 9 bills before we left for the Christmas holiday. The good news is the appropriators in the House, Tom Cole from Oklahoma is the chairman, and all of his subcommittee chairs, which are commonly referred to as cardinals, they stayed working. They kept working over the holidays, and they were working with their counterparts in the Senate, in the House on the Democrat side. And when we got back, we got to quick work, and we passed all of them with pretty big numbers, Al. By the way, people have to understand, are these bills perfect? They're never going to be perfect, but they get rid of a ton of the woke Biden nonsense. They actually spend less than we were spending under the Biden CR. So if you did a CR again, you'd just be affirming Joe Biden's budget over and over again. These things were huge victories at the end of the day. And then it went over to the Senate, and it should have passed without a problem last week while we were out. But you had this a tragic shooting in Minnesota. That it just gave Democrats a reason to oppose the Homeland bill, which is insane because we funded ICE through 2029. We put $30 billion in the big, beautiful bill that was signed into law last July. So this is a bunch of nonsense that they're trying to leverage the American people with their defund the police 2.0, which is now ICE.
Well, talk me through how this works. So, because I think I follow along, but I don't know if everyone does. So you get the 12 appropriations bill done, which passes the House. Senate's got to do it. President's got to sign it. I get that. But you say in the big, beautiful bill, you have ICE funded through 2029. Correct. So what exactly are the Democrats threatening to pull? They're going to stop the government from functioning because what? They want to rewrite what was already passed to then defund ICE? How do they do that? This bill's done until 2029.
Well, there's a standard appropriation in the bill to ICE of $10 billion in a much bigger bill than $10 billion. Okay, I suppose they could argue they're going to take that out. All right, so what? They're funded through 2029 with $30 billion. But that's not what they're saying. What they want to do, Al, is they want to undo reforms that were done in the bill last summer, which that doesn't fall, the welfare reforms and things like that, that doesn't fall under the jurisdiction of Homeland Security. And more importantly, they want to take away the executive's ability to make decisions in the executive branch. That's a red line for us. The president is going to make the decisions as the executive should when it comes to the executive branch, not Congress.
Now, talk us through the Senate side, though, because the Senate, we have majority in the Senate. It's slim. I understand that. But is it this filibuster thing? Talk me through that they got to get 60 votes or they're just going to talk it to death. Why can the Senate not? Because here's my point. If they're going to close down the government, let them. but don't sit that. But let them talk the entire time the government shut down. Let them be on TV all night long and make them stand up for it.
Well, and realistically, that's why we were going to do a suspension vote tonight in the House. Make Hakeem and his members tell the American public that they'd rather shut the government down for what? But, give our speaker credit. He decided he didn't want to do that. He'd prefer to bring it to the floor under a rule, which means now that Hakeem is telling us he's not going to give us any votes, we're going to have to pass it with Republican votes, which we can. In the Senate, this literally came down to the White House's direction. All right, John Thune was moving the five together, and the sixth one was Homeland. It didn't get the vote. It didn't get cloture last Tuesday, but that was the first try, right?
Yep.
The White House, in discussions with Schumer and Thune, decided that they were willing to give the Homeland bill another 2 weeks of discussion to pass the other five and make sure that we have 11 out of 12. Think about that. It's historic. We get 11 out of 12 funding bills actually signed into law with all Trump and Republican policies. It's a great situation, even though the Homeland thing, I know it's going to create people heartburn, but they need to recognize ICE is funded through 2029. That is not going to be an issue. The real issue is how hard are Democrats going to push yet again? You don't work your agenda from the minority by shutting the government down. It doesn't work that way.
So does this get done? Technically we're partially shut down as we speak. I heard somewhere they thought it could be done by tomorrow, Tuesday, or is this a elongated thing?
No, it'll get done this week is my prediction, if not sooner than the end of the week. What you have right now is the Rules Committee is meeting in the House this afternoon. They will come out with a procedural rule that we will vote on tomorrow morning, I expect, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Central. And then expect, assuming that rule passes, and that's our job to make sure it passes, we will have a vote on the entire package, as they like to call it, with the CR attached to it at 1 to 1:30, so noon to 12:30 Central.
All right. So we get this thing done. What's the next move for you guys in the House? Like, I don't want you to take any days off. What's the next move? Don't rest. Go. What next?
Well, so I think the president right now did a great job, I think, last week in sending Tom Homan. I mean, Tom Homan replacing Bovino, and I don't think anybody was doing anything wrong, but there was a tone change that was needed. Tom Homan brings that change. He's a cop's cop, and by the way, he did the same job under Obama. So if you don't like the people Trump sent already, how about the one that Obama sent you a few years ago? Tim Walz, Keith Ellison. I don't even think small fry is worth getting into. Those are the two main characters in this tragedy. And if they would now start to talk constructively, they're going to find out from Homan they don't have to be taking a knee for the public to, believe that they gave in somehow. Just let our local police work with the immigration, the federal authorities. If our local guys are going out there identifying the worst of the worst, and I don't know if you've looked at this list, Al, but people can go to the Homeland website. They can look up the worst of the worst. They're being published every single day. You can go through by state. And what our worthless media in the Twin Cities refuses to report is you're taking out rapists, you're taking out murderers, you're convicted rapists and convicted murderers, convicted child predators and drug dealers. I saw deportation orders on some of these people dating back to 2006, Al. What has been going on that we allow these awful people to be walking the streets of Minneapolis and St. Paul? That's who they're pulling out. I think Tom Homan can help make sure that we get to that point where our local law enforcement can do that without having to flood the streets with federal law enforcement. At the same time, I'm hoping that the White House reasserts they are looking for the worst of the worst. The rapists, the murderers, the child predators, the drug dealers. That's who they're looking to get out. Immigration is a very thorny topic. And by the way, our media and these posting things, every Minnesotan has to send me, car chases, guns drawn. Were you there? Were you there?
Yeah.
Because most of these get debunked after they're reported or posted, I should say, including the ripping a 5-year-old out of a car.
Yeah.
No, that was a Venezuelan illegal who ran from the car, leaving his son in the cold, in the elements, and they had to take care of the child. All this stuff.
The problem is that works, sir. They put it out there. Everyone gets so mad. They're ripping kids from schools and cars and all that, and no one catches the wait a minute. 3 days later, we debunked that was AI or whatever. It ends up working for them. Is absolutely the problem.
The optics are awful, Al, which is why I think the president took the right stuff with Homan, and the next step will be some kind of a pronouncement, I believe, about the worst of the worst.
All right, I got to go back to where we started because I got to let you go. I promised your staff I would have you out, and I'm going to get you out on time so I can get you back. Thank you again. I'm well stunned that you've even got 11, possibly 12 of the 12 done. I couldn't be more grateful, and let's get the Senate to do the same and get this thing done. I put my foot in my mouth, sir, and I'm willing to sit here and say it. I appreciate you.
Well, we're still overdue for burning some of the best agricultural product on the planet. So
we will absolutely do that as soon as the sun's out and it's warm enough. Congressman Emmer, thank you. Appreciate you coming on. He's Congressman Tom Emmer on the Al Travis Show. More right after this.